Paris, the city of lights, the city of love, the Eiffel Tower, Moulin Rouge, Chanel, Dior, Louis Vuitton, wealth, class, glamour, fashion, art, history, architecture, macaroons, champagne, and excellent cuisine. These are all the typical things that people imagine when they think of Paris, as well as one commonly perceived negative: rude Parisians. But under its mostly shiny and glamorized surface lies a city filled with noise, crowds, dirt, crime, and poverty, and it can be near enough seen on every street and around every corner. Shocked? Not what you expected? If you said yes, then you could have been a victim of Paris syndrome. Paris syndrome is a type of city syndrome that is described as a mental disorder caused when a person's expectations of Paris are not met during their very first visit to Paris. The syndrome can result in dizziness, sweating, anxiety, paranoia, hallucinations, delusional states, depression, and mental breakdowns due to the devastating shock of a person's realization that Paris isn't in fact what they thought it would be. The first identified case of Paris syndrome is said to have occurred in 1988, according to several studies and articles. However, it has never been more of an issue than it is today. From 1988 to 2004, there were only 63 reported cases of Paris syndrome, on average 3 to 4 cases per year. But since then, numbers have rapidly grown. The Japanese embassy in Paris is currently reporting an average of at least 20 cases per year. There haven't yet been any proven reasons as to why the number of cases has gone up so quickly, but it seems that this contemporary issue in tourism is growing more evident and correlates with the increasing influence and advancement of the media. Big cities in general have a distinct reputation that is amplified and exaggerated through the media, especially Paris, with the media's portrayal being almost 100% positive. These perceived portrayals and images of Paris cause tourists to have extremely high expectations upon arrival, consequently leaving a lot of space for disappointment. Paris syndrome can be experienced by a person from any culture or background, but is predominantly experienced by Japanese tourists because of the extreme idealization and high regard that the Japanese have had towards Paris and French culture since the 19th century. Many people have generalized and quite narrow ideas of what Paris would be like. However, the Japanese in particular are said to have an even narrower view, expecting a city filled with romance, fashion, and unimaginable wealth. According to the Japanese media, there are 3 stops within a Parisian's day, which are a cafe, the Eiffel Tower, and Louis Vuitton. If you have ever visited Paris, you will know that this is not the reality. So, following my research, I traveled to Paris to interview various different tourists in order to investigate and find out if and how the media influence their expectations of Paris, if their expectations matched reality, and if this affected their visit. Let's hear what they have to say.
Lots of movies, and I think mainly that. Movies, songs written about it. I saw the movie Midnight in Paris, and I was like, oh my god, I have to go to Paris.
Yeah. Like, did you watch movies or pictures?
My friends talked about Paris.
Your friends, yeah.
I kind of had my idea of Paris from films and, from like these romantic images, from like photographs, things like that.
The city of romance.
Woody Allen.
Yeah.
In Paris is very beautiful and improve a desire to visit Paris.
Me and Tiffany are like a couple, we are like together. So we thought that we would have like a great experience here because
A romantic experience because it's the city of love.
It's the city of love and the city of light.
It can be a little misleading where it's romantic, like City of Lights, and it's definitely a really positive portrayal of Paris, and I think that it has a lot of truth to it, but it can definitely build up the experience a lot.
Accurate to a degree, but think you always have to see it from your own perspective, from somebody else's view. Maybe it can confuse things.
No, it's not exactly how they, like show you Paris in the films. Yeah, it's not everything that people tell you, but it's always like that. So.
I guess the media's portrayal of Paris, I guess it's like a romantic city and everything. I guess that could be accurate. They don't necessarily show the just regular city part of Paris, the fact that there's traffic and lots of cars and lots of noise and everything. But they don't really show that. They show the romanticism, I guess, of Paris.
The movies and the TV make a false reproduction of the reality.
Yeah.
And this is bad. You think that Paris is very glamorous, but then you get to see like all these poor people. It's not so nice. If you go to Paris and you go to the right places, you do experience some of this glamour portrayed in the media. But well, obviously you then see that it's a bit of a lie.
Some people might, yeah. I mean, but I think the same thing happens with every city, every big city like New York or London, things like that. It's the same thing.
Being in a country for the first time, you have to take things in.
If someone comes with big hopes to, I don't know, see models everywhere on the Champs-Élysées, meet famous people, fall in love, I don't think that's going to happen. So if anyone really comes to Paris to experience that, yeah, it might be a big disappointment.
Triste dit monde, dit famille, dit tiers-monde, qui dit fatigue, dit réveil, encore sourd de la veille.
I got beaten up and they stole everything from me, my cards,
Your license.
my license, my mobile phone.
Anyways, the thing was that it was a bad experience. We came here, we were so excited, and it turned out to be shitty.
My friend's passport was stolen.
A woman counts my money.
I guess the food wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. Yeah.
I find that Paris is quite dirty. Maybe also the rudeness of some people. If you go to restaurants, not all of them, but at some places, I think mainly at touristic places, the people are quite rude. I mean, I want to come to Paris and become a part of Paris a little bit, but then these people make me feel like just a tourist again. I saw lots of people peeing on the streets. They keep smoking inside the metro. You actually do see that Paris is quite dirty. Took away a little bit of the glamour.
Alors on chante.
Yes, first time in Paris. We're loving it. It's amazing.
It's so beautiful. I love it. I think it's an amazing city.
A beautiful city and very romantic because it's a charming city. Very nice.
Very good.
So gorgeous.
I really like Paris.
It is a beautiful city and there are lots of amazing things to see here. I would say mainly very good, but there are a few things which surprise me in a negative way.
I think it's safe to say that most people do enjoy Paris on their first visit, despite the possible shock of it not being exactly the same as it is portrayed through the media. Most of the tourists I met emphasized the fact that people have to take what is seen in the media with a pinch of salt, and agreed that the higher the expectations people had of the city, the more likely they were to be disappointed. Because although Paris can be dirty, noisy, crowded, and indifferent, the city itself really is charming, full of breathtaking sights, and is definitely a city worth visiting. It might be hard to appreciate this if you go to Paris with a mind clouded by media-induced expectations. Nevertheless, Paris syndrome is still a very real issue in tourism, as the after effect of suffering such an illness has said to result in trauma and a fear of ever traveling again. Although there are only around 20 cases per year, the numbers are still growing, mainly as a result of the portrayal of Paris in the media. One of the main goals of tourism is to attract people to a destination by showing its best features, but not at all to create new negative outcomes from visiting the place, as this creates an open door for bad press and could have negative impacts on the amount of tourists to Paris in the future, especially from Japan. This all boils down to the issue of tourist destination image and how far the media, marketing, and PR industry should be allowed to go before they start to do more damage than good.